But no,
Okay.
just keep having this. So we are live. So I'll give a couple of seconds. It's sometimes a 30-second delay. If for some reason we sound fuzzy, either mute your mic. And if you go out for some reason, come back in. We all know technology is a beast. Um, but now you guys should see it on my page and you can share it on yours.
Okay.
And let me know. Because like I said before, my Sequana page ain't always public. So we are live. On my Taylor Legacies page, it's on there. I don't see it on the Sequana page. Okay, it's live on the Sequana page now. Let me tag y'all. Y'all can hear the back. Just let me know. Just like I said before, my Sequana page. All right. I just tagged y'all too, just in case you didn't see it. Are y'all able to see it? So we are live. So no. I'll give a couple of seconds. Let me know. Just like I said before, all right. I just tagged y'all too, just in case you didn't see it. All right. Tanya, did you see it? Ed, did you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
I was able to share it.
You was? Okay.
Yeah.
We seem a little fuzzy. We gonna just persevere through. So welcome, good evening. It has been definitely a day for me. But having these two individuals on the show has brightened my horizon. I am the CEO of Taylor Legacies. It is a branch of Taylor Talks, not your normal conversation topics anyway from A to Z. We don't have a script because we like being authentic. This we're talking about Money Mondays and building economic wealth. I am here with Latanya Baker. Hey, my sister's keeper, and Ed Hennings, who talk about second chances. Hey, y'all. So, if you guys can give an introduction about who you are and what you do, and we can get this conversation started.
Sure. Well, first of all,
And
thank
it's popcorn. Just go.
you. First of all, thank you so much for having me. Ever since I've connected with you, you just been on the go. So thank you so much. But my name, like she says, Latanya Baker. I'm the founder of I'm Still My Sister's Keeper, the movement, and I'm Still My Sister's Keeper, the fashion show. I'm also the founder of Generation of Excellence Trendsetters, formerly Generation of Excellence Prenatal Care. So again, thank you so much for having me.
All right. I'm Ed Hennings. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have a couple businesses. I have a barbershop and beauty salon. I have a trucking business. And I also have a beer product, which I released. I'm an author as well. And before I started these things, I had spent 20 years in prison. So I used that experience that I had to try to help others. I like to say I used the knowledge that I learned on my second chance to help those on their first.
You're muted.
Yep, you muted. Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Showing off. Yep. So when the sun comes on, it should mute me, but then y'all should hear it. Let's okay. Be working this. Let's see. Wait. It didn't play it right. Hold on.
Yep, we can't. Or if you playing something, we can't hear it.
Y'all can hear it. Did y'all not see the screen either?
No, I was wondering why you was bobbing your head. I thought you.
I could go through my entire screen, so it told me it was screen sharing it. Okay. I'll try again at the end. It usually, sometimes it worked good, it be on the road, and sometimes it don't. But it was a song called Like a Boss.
Okay.
And so I hope they heard it. All right. But if not, we gonna play it. We gonna keep going. And so I tried to like go on y'all pages and take some quotes and pictures from y'all since y'all didn't want to send me nothing. So throughout, I'll just put some up while we're talking because I want to promote y'all. Like my sister's Keith Ferris and his book. It's all about us helping each other. And I often say we are helpers of one another. So if I can help y'all in any way, I want to make sure that I do that. We all can become successful, and it's just in different lanes. And so, you know, that's really being like a boss. I'm a boss because I want everybody else to be bossed up as well, too. And so I'm going to just start with Ed. Usually I'll be like ladies first, but, you know, even though it's Women Empowerment Month, so feel good today. Feel good today. So tell us a little bit about, you know, your second chance and kind of what motivated you, and take us a little bit through your journey.
I grew up here in Milwaukee. I still live in the same neighborhood that I grew up in. I decided to just invest in my own community instead of moving out. That was one of the things that I thought about a lot. But I went to prison in this community. I made some scars in this community. So it was only right for me to come back here. I'll give a couple of seconds instead of moving out. Definitely come back and try to show anybody here that I never met anybody that didn't have a comeback inside of them. So it was all about just making that change in my life. And after making that change, and they say the quickest way to succeed is helping others succeed. So that's really my purpose. And it all started out with me just making bad choices and bad decisions as a young man. And it had got real ugly for me. I was facing the rest of my life in prison. And at that time, sitting in a holding cell, waiting for a jury to come back with a verdict. I had to sit there and just go through it. And like, man, where did I go wrong? What type of decisions and choices just led me up to this point to where I'm sitting in a holding cell waiting for a jury to decide if I ever see the streets again? More or less, having a victim and having a victim's family look at me like a monster. That was a huge letdown for me at that point in my life. So I thought about when I was younger, and I thought about the first promise that I ever had made to myself. And it was a night when my uncle and one of his good friends had left the house. And they told me to go upstairs and they'd be back later. They was quite a bit older than me. And when they came back, my uncle came back alone. And he said, get up. So I woke up and he said, man, Mikey is gone. And I was about 8 or 9 years old, but I knew what Mikey gone meant. And I said, man, what happened? He had tears rolling down his face. And he just explained to me that Mikey had got shot. And I think at that point, like 8 years old, I had made a promise. I had made a promise. I had made an agreement with myself that I would never let anybody harm me. And I carried that promise with me from the age of 8 all the way to 24 while I was sitting in that holding cell. And I said, man, this goes all the way back to when I was 8 years old and I made that promise. So that went with me to house parties. That went with me to skating rinks. That went with me to friends' houses. That I always had that in the back of my mind that I wouldn't let anybody harm me. So I try to tell people to be very careful, especially at a young age, because you'll make an agreement with yourself. You make a promise with yourself based upon something that you may have heard or something that you may have seen. And when you make these agreements at a very young age, you don't know how detrimental they can be. So when I was sitting in that holding cell, I knew that was a promise that I had made, and that promise weighed on me until it came to pass. And now I'm sitting in this holding cell when I made my second promise. And I promised, I said, hey, if I get a second chance, I promise I won't need a third. So at that point, from that day forward, I got found guilty of a lesser included offense. I got sentenced to 40 years in prison. I served 20 of the 40 years that I was sentenced to. I was released roughly 4 years ago. But that whole 20 years, I stuck to my promise. And that was my promise. And it didn't mean that I was going to get that second chance right then and there on the spot. That didn't mean it didn't come with work. That didn't mean it didn't come with sacrifice. But I had to stick to my promise. Seen the parole board 50 times, it feel like. Had to tell my mom each time that I wasn't coming home. But in my heart, I was sticking to my promise that I wasn't going to go backwards. So I just stuck to my promise. I've been home for years. I got my barbershop, beauty salon. I got my trucking business. I wrote a book.
Y'all bossed up.
I'm traveling the country, motivational speaking. And it all dates back to that promise I made in that holding cell about not having to have a third chance. So this is my shot, and I'm making good on it. That's my story.
Absolutely. We go come back and ask some questions and dive a little deeper. Latanya, tell us your story. What was your journey to where you are now? What motivated you? How did you get there?
Sure. Well, amazing story, Ed. I love it. I tell people all the time that, man, transparency is everything. When you are trying to motivate people, if you haven't walked that walk, a lot of times people don't receive it. So that's an amazing story. I'm glad to see you still standing. As far as me and my story, mine's kind of started the night my mom passed unexpected. I received a phone call about 4 o'clock in the morning from my sister, maybe 13 missed calls. And when I woke up to call her back, all I can remember is hearing her screaming and crying in my ear, telling me that my mom won't wake up. And I had just literally talked to my mom around midnight. It was typical to talk to her in the middle of the night throughout the day. And if we didn't talk throughout that day, she would make sure that she would call and say, "Hey, haven't talked to you all day. Just wanted to let you know I love you. See how your day was going, and this and that." And that's what happened that night. And so to receive that phone call with my sister screaming and hollering in my ear, telling me that she won't wake up, and then maybe 10 minutes later receiving a phone call back from my cousin saying she's gone, that just, the experience or the shock that went through my body, I can't even tell you what happened maybe 10 minutes after that phone call. All I know is I remember leaving my house, going to her house, and to see her laying in her bed, no longer breathing, it just did something to my soul. But what kind of changed my life along with that was going through my mom's house, cleaning up her house and finding past due notices, finding lapsed insurance coverages, getting calls from creditors saying, "Hey, this hasn't been paid," and this is that, and me saying, "Well, unfortunately, my mom passed," and them really not caring. Well, who's going to pay this bill? That it did something to me at that moment. Mentally, I said to myself, you know what? It's time to break this ugly cycle. My mom passed in her sleep. Her mom passed in her sleep, and her mom's mom passed in her sleep. 3 generations of women who barely had any education, stressed about life, all died from the same symptoms: obesity, hypertension, poor. And I found myself as a child watching my mom work 2 or 3 jobs, struggling. So that was learned behavior for myself. So I grew up working 2 or 3 jobs, struggling, not really knowing how to manage money properly because that's what I saw. And so it was at that moment that I said, I have to break this ugly cycle. And it didn't happen overnight. It took years of me making mistakes. It took years of me remembering, looking at those bills that my mom had. It took years of me just kind of going back and forth, wrestling with what she dealt with and saying to myself, "Latanya, you have to wake up. You can't do this." Up until now, being able to be blessed enough to bless others. Also growing up, about maybe 12 years ago, I remember running into my molester at a nightclub. And my molester happened to be a woman that was supposed to be babysitting me and protecting me. She failed to do that, and she instead molested me. And throughout life, it taught me, it made me feel like if someone says that they love you and they're supposed to protect you, that it's okay for them to hurt you. So what that did for me was it put me in a position to where I trusted women. I had a lot of friends, well, people who I thought were my friends that I kept around me at all times. My house was full of company of my friends all the time. I was very big-hearted, open-hearted, and those same women continued to hurt me over and over again. I even made excuses for them. So when I ran into my molester, I froze up like a 6-year-old kid when I saw her, and it felt like it was happening all over again. So what that did for me was say, you know what, you don't have to make excuses for people. You don't have to trust everybody, but take what happened to you and try to help people. So it took me a long time to even talk about that. But I had to understand that I was a kid when that happened. It wasn't my fault. I did what I was told to do. So just, losing my mom and then having to face my molester is what it made me who I am today. It definitely made me stronger than what I thought I was. And it also pushed me to open up a foundation or a business called I'm Still My Sister's Keeper. And basically what we do is we advocate for, it started off with us advocating for women and pretty much taking the things that women go through and bringing awareness through fashion. So fashion is not just fashion for me, it's definitely my passion, but I use it as a tool to bring awareness. The show started off with just women, but now we've added a lot of men to the actual movement. So the show went from a fashion show to an actual movement. And that's what we are today. We're on our 5th show in Atlanta, Georgia. And I remember doing these shows and I was not only broke, but I was broken. And so to be able to come out of all that and now do these shows and not be either broke or broken, it's a blessing. And it's even gotten to the point now where people are pouring into the show saying, what can I do? What do you need help paying for? Or can I buy somebody a ticket? Because the show is basically known nationwide now. We have models and we have designers that come from everywhere to be a part of this show. And I was just telling my assistant, I said, I have these butterflies in my stomach because everything that God manifests to me is happening, and it's a scary feeling, but it's an overwhelming feeling. So that's my story.
Awesome.
Okay, y'all went so super deep, but it was good. People need to hear that.
Awesome.
I was gonna go back to Ed, but I think I'm gonna start with Latanya. When you say like being broken and still persevering on, a lot of times people don't understand when you're building something, and you want to see it happen, like the manifestation of the vision that you're birthing, regardless of anything that's going on in your life, you stay at it. So what would you tell a person that say, hey, it's like I have a passion inside of me, but I have nothing to start with. I've been through so much in life. I don't even feel like I can come out on the other side. What type of advice would you give them, or what type of motivation would you give them as well? Let them know that it can happen. And you both can chime in.
You definitely just can't give up. There were so many times that I wanted to give up. The one thing that I've been blessed enough to have or create is a really supportive team. My best friend is my assistant. She's now my administrator, and thank God she believed in me. And no matter how big or crazy my ideas sounded, she never made me feel like, oh no, it's not gonna work. She would just be like, where do you come up with this type of stuff? And oh my God, this is amazing. And there was times where I couldn't pay for certain things, and I'm having to go to my assistant, my best friend, like, can you pay for this or can you pay for that? And she was like, yeah. And she was basically working with me for free. So I would definitely say, one, don't give up, and two, surround yourself with like-minded individuals. If you don't have anybody on your team that you feel can support you, you go into those environments that you want to be in. You can't expect to think like a millionaire or become a millionaire if you're hanging in environments where people don't even know how to manage their own money. So you have to put yourself in those environments. And you know how they say people can become habitual liars and this and that. You have to actually literally tell yourself who you want to be and how you want to be that person and all that until you actually believe it. It's almost like you got to trick your mind to believe, look, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to break a cycle. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that until you actually believe it. So I would definitely say, don't give up. Find out what it is you're passionate about. Go into those environments that you're trying to become a part of and start to manifest positive things into your life until you actually see it and believe it yourself.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Absolutely. All right, Ed, come on with the come on. No.
I'm answering the same question.
Yeah, absolutely. You're just adding to it.
Very much. She hit it right on the head. I talk to a lot of young guys, but mainly I talk to, the 24-year-old Ed. I had to acknowledge and accept, what got me in a bad situation. And one of the things that, just like Latanya just mentioned, it's a conditioning. Whatever beast you feed gonna get stronger. And I had to identify that early on. Like, so if you hang around, if you listening to the music, if every example around you, what you watch on TV, what you read, if all that stuff say you can't do it, you just conditioning your mind to say, hey, you can't do it. Yeah. So if you just reverse that and spend as much time, how many times do you tell yourself to dominate your day? If you ask a person that, I don't ever tell myself to get up and dominate my day. Like, well, how are you going to dominate your day? You have to tell yourself that morning, noon, and night, a heavy dose of I'm gonna dominate my day. Whatever that may entail, it's not gonna get the best of me. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna handle it every single day. And if you can condition and discipline yourself to start to feed that to your brain every day, because it's not that we can't do it. It's just that we don't believe we can do it. Right. And when you don't believe, you're not going to do it. And where does that come from? What you've been told, the examples that you've seen, all of these things play a part, even in school. Even the mindset in school on what's being taught to you is the imagery that you're looking at plays a part in you just not thinking that you have what it takes. But once you remove that off the board, and you start to gain control of what you're going to allow into your brain on a daily basis, on an all-day basis, because I do it to this day. I don't listen to anything or anybody that don't say, Ed, dominate. I have to hear that constantly. So if I get somebody around me and I'm trying to motivate them and I say, man, you can do it, and they start saying, I can't do it, I'm only going to be able to take so much now. I'm trying to help you. But if you keep on saying that, I'm going to have to turn you over to the higher power, and I'm going to go ahead because I know I'm only human. In the past, I've been accused of trying to play God, and that got me in a lot of trouble.
Oh, absolutely. I can see that. But I think that the push, though, that both of you guys said, like, hey, knowing within yourself that you can, even at what some people say your doctor's hour, you had to believe in something to push you through, whether it was your faith, meditation, the higher power. But also, there's a quote that goes around and it say, hey, if you're the top person in your circle, you need to enhance or get another circle. And so it's saying, hey, I don't want to be the top in my circle because I want to be forever growing. And so when I hear that, I think about who are some of the people you surround yourself with. And necessarily, we don't have to say it's a circle, but that's just a quote. But who are some people that you keep, like Latanya, you said your best friend without getting paid? Who know how many sisters, mothers, cousins would be like, what, you ain't paying? Yeah. And and I'm feeding into your vision and you think I'm going to keep on going without? And that's hard because a lot of times you have to learn in life that people want back. Y'all remember when I had a daycare, and don't get me wrong, like my family got plenty of kids. And so, but when I was opening my daycare, that's my baby, y'all. When I was opening my daycare, and I'm a faith giant. That's just who I am. I respect everybody else, but I believe in God and I'm a faith giant. But God literally told me it's not going to be your family that's going to support you. And that hurts sometimes because you be like, dang, with all of this family, they should be supporting. But he let me know, like out the gate, that I was going to get support from outside people. And that's exactly how it happened. And it don't mean that I still didn't prosper and I didn't grow. But sometimes we want to bring some people with us and they're not meant to be there for our whole season. I think about when they say the 3 places of a tree, or the root, the stem, that's rooted in the ground. And we want to always take people with us. That don't necessarily mean they meant to come. And so when I think about that, who are people that play a vital role in your life? Who is part of your inner circle, your motivation, or somebody that you feel that helps you to want to push harder? And how do you know that that's what that person is? Because a lot of times, how you can think somebody in your corner and they ain't necessarily in your corner.
Without a doubt. I think me just growing up in the urban community, I adhere to all of those principles, the street code, the family code, the G code, all of that stuff. I kind of, grabbed hold to that, and I had to grow up. You have to grow up. And if you have, if you faith-based and you spiritual, then you really God's child. You're not really nobody's child or nobody's brother. God just loaned us to each other till he come and get us. So with that being said,
don't be laying no preaching on the floor. We're gonna have to give you some offering. Come through though. Like, okay, come on.
But that's just on the spiritual level. But literally you got to grow up and understand that you're a man, that you're adult, and you got to learn how to stand on your own too. So while I was in my darkest moment for 20 years, I had to learn that, hey, you know what? All of the stuff that you worried about, that's preventing you from going forward. So I got creative. They said, surround yourself around good people. I'm in the darkest place besides in the ground. I'm in the state penitentiary. Yeah. So what I did was I found people like Bill Gates. I found people like Denzel Washington. I found stories of people that overcame the odds, women, men that were left for dead, adopted, didn't know if they was going to make it, and they made it happen. I ripped them out of books and I posted them on my wall, and I made them my friends. Wow. I would look at them and read their stories over and over and over again, how they came through tough times. And I made them my closest friends, and I learned from them. So I cling to those stories. Whenever I hear somebody's story that they overcame, they might not be my friend, but they don't know. I just took their story and made it my friend. I just took that and put it in my pocket, and I'm going to play it tonight when I go to sleep, and I'm going to think about it, and I'm going to talk back to it and let it talk back to me.
Right. I definitely agree with that. And then for me, when the beauty of having a vision and then being able to explain to other people what your vision is and having them believe in it just as much as you, like, that's a beautiful thing. And I was able to do that with my circle of friends. I was able to say, look, this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm going to do to make it happen. And they stuck with me. And like I said, my best friend, she's been there since day one. And I told her, the fact that you stuck with me, I got you. I'm trying to convince her to quit her full-time job as a manager to come work with me full-time. And she doesn't even live in the same city and state that I'm in. But the fact that I'm now able to compensate her and pay her, what she's making with her own employer, I'm like, I got to pay you back for everything that you've done for me. She stuck it out. And she always tells me, man, like, you did it. You literally did it. And I can't, I can, but I can't believe like you really did it. So, I mean, the beauty of having, people, and I tell people all the time, of course, money is a motivator, and of course we don't want to live poor, and, we want to make good money and things like that. But the beauty and the reward to what it is that I do, I don't look at it as a job. When I get those ones that I've impacted to say, oh my God, I don't know what I would do without you. That's worth more than the money, the gold, the materialistic things. That's what keeps me going. People tell me you keep me going. No, when you tell me that what I'm helping you with is keeping you going, that's what keeps me going. So, I mean, like he said, like, it's people that I've never met before, but they know me on social media, and they'll inbox me and be like, oh my God, like, what you're doing is so motivating. There was a young lady I met in Atlanta 3 years ago. I was driving Uber, and that was around the time where I was homeless. And I literally would make enough money to put gas in my car and pay for the business that I had, was establishing down there. And $5 a day is what I put up to eat. And I was telling her about my story, and I said, this is what I'm going to do in 2 or 3 years. And this is that. And she inboxed me on Facebook. She said, I don't know if you remember me, but I remember I met you about 3 or 4 years ago in Atlanta. And oh my God, everything you said you were going to do, you're doing it. So she reminded me of what I spoke into existence. And I was just like, I do remember you. And so every once in a while, she'll just inbox me, be like, I am watching you. Thank you so much. And this is that. And that's what keeps me going. When my clients are like, man, I don't know what I'll do without you if I didn't know you. That's the type of stuff that keeps me going. Yeah, my bank account looks so much better, but the lives that I'm impacting, that's what keeps me going.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we're talking about impacting lives and you know, like just hearing both of your stories and like where you at now, you know, and a lot of times people see somebody doing good, but they don't understand what happens in the background. Like they didn't know, like $5 a day to eat and just gas in your car. And listen, I love Hotlanta, but I would never want to stay there for one of traffic. And I feel like a lot of people move there, but there's nothing that's around the corner. So you have to drive everywhere that's 30, 40, an hour and a half.
30 minutes, you're doing good.
Yeah, you work for gas is what people don't understand. So you Ubering for gas and saying, hey, I still have this dream that's coming through and I'm eating off of $5 a day, you know, and I'm still happy going to work and they don't even know the motivation. And then Ed, like, I've never been in jail, but I got 5 brothers who all went through the system. That's why I be so advocate about not just criminal justice reform, because reform ain't happening. We need something totally new, you know, but even in your darkest time, like, you in the state and you like, I'm putting up pictures of people that don't made it. Like, that's my pipe dream to be like, okay, Bill Gates, you did it, I can do it. At a time when most people, like, I just gave up all hope, you know, like I went in there, you know, people don't commit a suicide, you know, depression, like they got out and never been the same. I got an older brother who was gone for 15 years, got out, like he couldn't, I ain't gonna say accept that life had changed for a lot of people, but it affected him in a mental way that he never got back from. And I'll say it like that, you know, and it was totally different, you know, from you. And so when people look at your story and they see like, oh, they living fat, they looking good, you know, they traveling, they writing books, but they don't understand that you went through hell to get here. And I often tell people, you don't want to walk in these shoes. I'm telling you, some people didn't survive what I did. But just going into it in your book, it's a little bit about your book though. Like what's in the book, we ain't gonna tell too much because we want people to get it. And then also, you know, as a thank you to you, I'll purchase a few and you can just give them out to whoever you like.
All right. That's all right. I appreciate it. You know, when I came home, you know, people that I knew, I got a job I was working at G's Clippers. I took barber and cosmetology while I was in prison. So I started barber and cosmetology in 98. Got my barber license in 2001. I didn't come home till 2016. But I knew I needed to get those skills, and those skills enabled me while I was on work release to work at a barbershop. So just having some forward thinking. And at the end of the day, I was at G's Clippers and everybody at, you know, all the fellas that was there, they made my transition back real sweet. And, you know, I'm always grateful for that. And they will always say, man, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. I said, man, I just, what, how you write a book about, oh, I did time and got out? Like, that's not nothing to write a book about. There's a lot of guys out here that did time and got out. So as I went through my journey, I started my first business maybe a year after I got out. And then maybe like 5 months after that, I came up with my second book. With my second business. And then after that, I started, I was already doing speaking and mentoring and coaching, even in prison, through Scared Straight programs, through youth awareness programs. So I just carried that over on my way out. But ultimately, here in the Capitol Drive area, the 23rd and Capitol Drive area where I grew up, Benjamin Franklin Elementary School. My grandmom lives next door to me. But to make a long story short, I purchased a house next door to my grandmother. My aunt lives across the street. My mom and dad
with this legacy building.
Yeah. So that was my thing. And my grandmom, she's an even keeled woman. She don't get too high on nothing. She don't get too low on too many things.
Yeah.
But when I said, Mama, I put a bid in on the house next door. And she didn't give me any emotion or anything. She's like, yeah. So a couple days later, I came in and she said, did you hear anything about the house? And I looked at her and she gave me this little look. And I knew, I said, I can write a book now because I made grandmoms show me some teeth a little bit. I said, yeah, I can write a book now. So I contacted somebody. I was connected with a wonderful, smart publisher, which I'm more of a speaker than I am a writer. We sat down and I told her, I said, I don't want to write an autobiography. I don't want to write nothing about just my life. But what I do want to take is the principles that were given to me that allowed me to do face life in prison, do 20 years, come home, start multiple businesses, buy a home, all within 3 years at the time. So if I can do that, I'm going to pass the game on. I'm going to give you the game, and I put it in the book. I called it The Answers, passing the test of your life. So the adversity and the challenges, I just tried to do a book that would give somebody some knowledge on how to face the adversity and challenges in their life and how to overcome them.
Great. And I took a picture of your book and I put it up. It's called The Answers, y'all. So for both of them, I'm like, hey, just send me some stuff. And they both so humble. It wasn't even about them, but I want to make sure that we promote them, like I Am My Sister's Keepers. Get a ticket, even if you can't go. Get some tickets, donate it, and let somebody else go. We always need to give people chances to get opportunities to do greater things. The Answers, like he said, it wasn't just an autobiography. It was a book about principles. Make sure you hit them up. Motivational speaking, both of them. Make sure we check them out and make sure we support. A lot of people talk about how Milwaukee don't support each other. I know that we support each other. I know we have great people doing great things in our community. And I know that we can build a legacy that supersedes anything that's been in Milwaukee before. Right now, like today, with everything that's going on, the most segregated city in the world, 53206 making a national headline. When I tell people that, like, baby, I came from 53206. There's some great people in that zip code. I don't want people to think without a doubt. They see it and they like, oh, I heard about this. We get so much negativity, but I see great things every day, day by day. So, and I just want to make sure that we're supporting each other. And so now, you guys, you're doing what you set out to do. You don't got out of the state pen, took your pictures down, rolled them up, came home, rolled your sleeves up. Launched about 5 or 6 businesses within 4 years. Man, that's a lot. Tanya, and I didn't even know all of that about your story. I knew some, but even having an event called My Sister's Keeper after being molested by women would sometimes make you hate women. And I know a lot of times people don't want to talk about that, but it's deep and it's true. But you said, hey, I still love my sisters, So now that we're here, what are some of the things that y'all look for going in the future, or some things that you're working on now that you can't publicly, tell people about? But I'm not saying a 3 or 5 year plan, but tell us about what we can look forward to coming from y'all in the future.
Well, let me say this. I remember my mom telling me, just listening to him speak about what happened in his life and the people that impact his life. My mom told me, what you going through ain't even about you. And when she said that, I'm like, well, who is it about? Because
yes, because I'm feeling it. Yeah, who is it about? Yeah.
But now I understand what she means by that when I talk to the people whose lives I'm impacting, because I can be able to sit and tell my client, I went through that, and they're looking at me like, yeah, right. And I can sit and say, yeah, this is how I got over it. So now I understand what she means when she said what she meant when she said it's not even about you. What you're going through is about who you're going to be able to help in the long run, and you're going to be able to tell them how you got through that, how you got over it. And so I really do understand that. So what I'm dealing with right now and the awesomeness that's coming into my life, I literally about 2 weeks ago opened up 2 additional locations within the same week. Wasn't even planning on doing it. I had it in my head and my plan to do it, but to be able to do it within a week, I literally stumbled upon a location just going for a walk, and my walk seemed to get a little longer than I anticipated. And I was like, you know what, let me take this little shortcut. Call myself taking a shortcut, and the shortcut ended up not being a shortcut. So when I took the little shortcut, I stumbled across this building. I was like, you know what, I wonder if there's some vacant studios or office spaces over here. So had my assistant call the number, set up an appointment, and I literally, when we set this appointment and as we walked through the building, I was like, I can see myself here. And I started picking out offices, and I started picking out training areas, and this is that. And I'm like, and I'm going to do this with the kids, and this is that, and this is that, and this is that. And the process it was so easy. And I was like, oh my God, I did it. I literally just signed this 3-year lease for this huge establishment what did I just do? So that happened, and then I ended up going to the South Side to meet with the young man about a building that has come to me 3 times. And he was like, "Oh, here's your lease." I said, "Oh, I'm signing the lease today?" He said, "Yeah." And to be able to do that in 1 week for 2 buildings, and be able
Listen.
to not struggle financially with my personal finances, be able to put a deposit down and pay up my rent for 3 months for both locations,
Listen.
to be able to pay my rent at my current business. I now have a responsibility for 5 locations, 4 being businesses, 1 being my home. I was telling my assistant, I said, "Oh my God, it's really happening." She was like, "Girl, soak it in." So
That is
that,
real.
man, that's just been in the people that has been, and I've had people call and say, "Look, I need an office, I need this, I need that," and God is like, "Don't even worry about it. The money is gonna come, the business is gonna come," and I mean, it's overwhelming. So the fact that I think a lot of people say I'm afraid of failure, but I don't even think it's failure that they're afraid of. I think people are actually afraid of actually succeeding, because success comes with a huge responsibility. It comes with,
And what do you do after that, right?
yeah. So, and I think that a lot of people are afraid of that. I don't think they're afraid of failing. I think that their ideas are amazing, and they're really scared that this idea could really work and I could actually become successful. And that's scary. And not everybody can deal with that. Not everybody can deal with that. So, I mean, I'm literally experiencing overflow, and sometimes feeling like I don't even have enough room to receive it. But I ask God, like, please,
Listen, you could drift some over this way, Jesus. Whatever you did for Popeyes in last season, do it for me, Jesus. Do it for me.
But I'm literally experiencing what it feels like to receive an overflow and not even have enough room to even receive it. So I'm just grateful for that. I literally pinch myself sometimes, be like, "Girl, are you dreaming or is this really happening?"
Real.
So one of my clients is sitting right here right now, and I tell her all the time, like, "You look nothing like what you went through." And when I met her, she was just so hurt and so broken, and I wanted to just hug her and squeeze her, like, "Man, I got you." And the fact that she's now my assistant, the fact that she started her own business, and the fact that she's looking like $1 million, it's like, man, to be able to say I helped her get to that point, that's all I need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, you having that Popeye season. Do it, Jesus. People don't understand that chicken sandwich. I'm telling you. Just give me that vision. But that's great. And I'm, even to see it happening and, us to have conversations about different collaborations and you to be like, no, hey, y'all can do this here. I'll open this up here. We got you. And just really quick, because I love giving honor and giving people their flowers while they can hear about it.
Right.
We did a trip down to Mississippi, and Latanya and Next Generation was one of our potential partners at first. So we had a call and she like, I'm on board. I'm on board for whatever's going on. And we started having a conversation, you all. And this is how you never know who somebody is and, how they're going to inspire your life or be connected. And we started talking about a town that our families is from. And I'm like, hey, if you're from this town, somewhere down the line,
right,
our family, and so we started doing names. And I'm like, let me call my mother, but we have been collaborating for a while now, not even knowing it. Just, liking what each other's doing, I'll assist you here, let me know I do this here. And so, like, now this is my cousin.
Right.
That's your cousin, but absolutely somewhere down the lines, our family connected and we cousins, but not knowing
on both
it
sides, mom and dad
couple years you have that we collaborated. Even before that, we were sent to go down south, and she actually met us with her team in Jackson, Mississippi. Went to the store then, even though she supported us here greatly. Went to the store, brought her team down there, feet on the ground. And I just love having people like that around because you never know, where your help comes from. And you never know that connection. And even if she didn't help me, just her spirit and her love that she has, even though she's not my cousin, she wasn't my cousin then, but now I know she's my cousin now. I didn't know it. Like, we never knew it. All this conversation that we had until we had the Mississippi. But like I'd be like, now, hey, cousin.
Right.
And I go to just asking you for stuff. We go still keep supporting each other. But I see that overflow coming. But I just, wanted to say that because a lot of times we don't think enough for what they're doing. You didn't have to do that. The people in Mississippi are asking us when we're coming back. They consider us family, and we was able to help a lot of people that didn't necessarily get it. And I know I'm turning, but a lot of people are going through like storm disasters, and they feel like FEMA is there. And I love FEMA, don't get me wrong, but a lot of times they don't get to the people who immediately need them right now. They're on the last one, because I got people in Texas who have renters insurance, and FEMA is telling them they can't help them because they have renters insurance, and renters insurance is saying it was a national disaster. They can't help them. So just, in the work that we do, making sure we think people that help out. So we gonna go back on a good note. So Ed, I know you talked about 5 different businesses. Tell us about those businesses. Tell people how they can get in touch with you. Tell us what they are,
Okay. So the first thing, let me start out just saying that LaTanya got a wonderful story, and I'm just feeding off of that good energy. But
listen,
definitely
it's the man that came back from jail and launched 5 businesses. Come on now.
Well, it's the barbershop and beauty salon, which was my first business. It's on 62nd and Capitol. I have a trucking business. We specialize in furniture delivery, but I'm trying to, level that up as well. I started out with 1 truck. Now I have 5. So that's something that I'm kind of proud of when it comes to that. What else? I wrote the book. I have the beard oil, and I'm on a national speakers tour. Well, international when it's all said and done, because I'll be in Mexico.
Yes, speak that.
So that's something that I just did my first date in Memphis last weekend. So that went really well, and it was good to grace the stage with speakers from all over the country.
Wow.
And just to see, where Milwaukee at in this game.
Yes.
And that's
Your
it.
beard line, did you talk about that?
I got the beard oil for the guys. There's, I had the beard.
Take his beard out, y'all. You got to get up. Let him come take your beard out.
Yeah, it's taking cosmetology. You kind of get to know what goes into growing a beard out. So a lot of people don't understand it. They think it's like growing their hair out, and it's totally different 2 types of hair. So you have to really educate people on it. And that really goes a long way in them buying your product, because you educate them on how to take care of themselves. And that's it. I'm just the type of person that I defied the odds already. The odds was against me. I probably don't supposed to be here right now. So just knowing that people, right. I told my auntie today, I said, you can't rest up to die. You can't take all that energy with you. God bless us with talent, time here on earth, energy to use it while we're here, because you can't take it anywhere. Michael Jordan couldn't take the championship anywhere. He blessed with that talent to win it here. So we gotta go ahead and stop putting on the brakes and minimizing exactly what we're capable of and what we've been given. Because I hear a lot of people resting. So since I've been home these last 4 years, it's not about rest. I'm leaving here with an empty tank.
That's what yeah. And that's one of the things that I say, like whenever I speak or somebody asks me, how do you feel? And I was like, I want to die empty. And a lot of times people don't understand that. And I was like, I want to die leaving behind all my gifts, talents, everything that God gave me and my purpose. And when I'm done, it's like, well done, my good and faithful servant. Like I don't have nothing else to leave or give, because I've used it all. Like you said, you can't take it with you. So let me do. Right. And people talk about matches in heaven. Like I believe that, but Lord, let me experience some of that happiness here. Like if we're just working from there, we're not experiencing any happiness and living life here, then I feel like that's an issue. Like I didn't come through all of the hell that I went to get to this point and be like, I'm gonna just stay here. No, let me smile. I came from a background a lot of people don't even know it. Like when I share it, people be like, you serious? You for real? And I was like, absolutely. I was like, but they was like, you smiled. And I was like, nobody ever knows, why I smile or what's behind this smile, because you don't know my story. Like getting up, speaking, doing talk shows, being elected. I didn't come from no political background, nothing. We didn't talk about voting, unions. I was the girl that read books. Like I loved school, wanted to go into law. Like I wouldn't be talking in front of like thousands of people, putting myself out there. That wasn't who I was. I ain't the type when something happened, I ran to the window. I'd be like, they'll figure that out. Now I always help people. but like on this platform, so I often say God set me up for a journey I never knew that was meant for me, but it was my purpose.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm like, I'm politically correct. So I truly thank y'all for sharing y'all story. Like all of the things I've done, and y'all talking about great stories. I'm sitting here like I'm on the line. I'm leveling up with y'all. So just tell me how I can be connected and be down. Like I'll pave my own way. But even in just the businesses and the overflowing, and the story needs to be heard. Like Latanya, I know you do a lot of stuff, but even when you talk about just your story, like a lot of people have not heard about your story. I don't know if there's a book in your future, or what you want to do, but somebody is waiting on it. Somebody
It
needs that
actually
to
is.
know I can make it.
It actually is. I just need to sit my butt down and actually write it.
I
Look, I wrote the first chapter. That's the start. And I was
Yeah.
on a plane ride coming back, and I saw a young lady and her daughter kind of talking, and it just reminded me. I'm like, when you write a book, it's like, where do you start? Do you start at the beginning? Do you start where you are at now? Do you start in the past? Like I didn't know.
It's all writing.
Yeah, and that's what somebody told me. Just start writing and whatever comes to mind. And so I wrote
Yeah.
about the night that my mom passed, and that was the first chapter.
Wow.
It's called 4:03 a.m., which is around the time that I got
Wow.
the call. But yeah, a book is definitely in the making. I'm having a grand opening at my Northside location for my birthday celebration, so you'll definitely get an invite. But the birthday
Yes.
celebration is going to be a community event, which is what I love, love, love. The best part of my job is giving back to the community.
Yes.
So that's happening, and then of course the Southside grand opening is going to happen sometime next month. So I'm excited about that. We're in the process of opening up a transitional living home for men. We have one for women, but we also are going to open one up for men. And like I was saying earlier, often we focus on the women and the children, in which we should, but a lot of times we don't
There's not a
focus
lot of
on them.
programs for single men.
Yeah, and they need us just as well as the women and the children need us. So I'm excited about that. What else do I have going on? Transitional living home. The prenatal. Even though I have a prenatal care agency, I want to be known for case management and community health work all around, not just prenatal care. So we're tapping into
Okay.
providing some training to the community. We're also tapping into becoming a testing site for different like certifications. We're bringing back home economics. We're bringing back shop classes. We're bringing back a bunch of things that were taken out of the schools, which put a lot of these young mothers in a situation. So the only thing they can make is noodles. I'm tired of these
Wow.
babies eating noodles. So, we're bringing back a lot of those skills and training that they took away from us. So I'm looking forward to all that. I've made some major connections with people who are going to actually help me implement these different type of training. So I'm excited about just everything I have going on. And if anybody is in need of any resources or any help, I'm on Facebook, Latanya Baker. I have a website. I'm on Instagram as Purpose Driven One. Just launched my Purpose Driven One nonprofit organization. And then I'm also bringing the I'm Still Monsters Keeper fashion show to Milwaukee. So I'm excited about that. I haven't picked a date yet, but it's coming to Milwaukee. And she forgot to mention that she's actually one of my honorees in the show.
I know.
So
Okay.
we honor 5 women each year, and she's one of my honorees. So I definitely have something
Thank you.
beautiful in store for her. So the show is going to take place at a mansion in Atlanta, Georgia. So we done upgraded.
Yes, listen. Hey.
So
I'm so honored for that.
Yeah, but I think that's all I have. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. Like I need
Right,
to
y'all like 50 things.
peek
That's all
over
I'm doing, y'all.
at my little wall. Like I literally had to write down my businesses today so I didn't forget what I own and what I have. So that's how good God is. So thank you.
Awesome.
Neo said you the truth, and Neo the Barbara. Hey, Neo, him and my brother are like brothers.
Yeah.
Somebody was like, "Come through, family." I usually try to go to the comments, but we was just so engrossed in the conversation. Dominique said, "Great advice, outstanding, and very positive." I do the same. Tower, my God. Keep doing it, loving the conversation. And so also if in the comments y'all can put like y'all contact information for somebody who may either need your services or want to connect with you in some type of way. I believe in making connections and networking in anything that we do, so that we're helping each other. So don't making sure I miss some, because I'll be like, ask questions or It's kind of going back to what some of the people said, and it's on both pages. So that's why y'all see me at my phone, like it's on my Taylor Legacies and it's the Quantum page. Okay. Put your information in there because I know some people go want to talk to you, and I often say someone may want to ask a question or they may want to get into the business. And I know a lot of times, you sometimes run into people and they like, I don't know, but I know these two individuals wouldn't steer you wrong that we're talking to today. They want to make sure that you make it and you are in good hands. So reach out to them. If you want to connect with them on any level, they have a wide range of things that they are capable of and they're experts in. And they leveled up. These are bosses. Like we bossed up today, y'all. Hey. And y'all made my day. Like I literally been through a day. We got some family emergencies going on. But just even getting on and seeing y'all, and still smiling and, just having some great people on, the inspiration, that y'all bring, and just y'all stories. Like I'm just taking it in, and like they both went to do great things regardless of that trauma, that they went through at a young age. Like a lot of people shut down. And when we see adults walking around with issues and challenges, it comes from trauma that happened as a young child. So I often tell people we have all of these services sometimes for the adults, but if we would have put some stuff in place and been proactive instead of reactive for our children, we'll have a different generation of children right now in a different cycle of an environment. And so I'm often saying, if you help one side of a family, you got to help the whole family, or the whole child is what I usually say, because I can't help one without the other. If I'm going to help the mom but not the father, if they need assistance, how am I helping the whole child? And that's the things we need to talk about, that trauma that happened. And for you, do you go back into the prisons in the system now and speak as well too, right?
I do. I speak at a lot of reentry programs. I've been to Oscar Correctional. I've been to Dodge Correctional Institution. Just all over, really. But definitely, I even have the group that I'm speaking with. Will be here on April 10th speaking as well. So it's just been continuing to grow, but definitely that's my niche. That's what I know. I think I'm the expert at, somebody coming home from prison and being successful. That's me, so I walk in it. I'm not trying to throw all of that knowledge and experience to the side and go off and do something else. No, I live that. I experienced that. I learned from that. So I just try to give it to those. First of all, try to prevent people from going down that road.
Right.
But if you're in there, I'm going to try to help you utilize your time to where, because I say re-entry start the moment you get arrested, not when you do it. So you got to utilize that time to build that momentum on your way out the door. And then those that's coming out. So that's what I deal with. That's me. I'm the comeback coach.
Absolutely. Yeah, you didn't even say that. I was trying to find that quote on your page while you didn't want to send anything. I'm trying to find pictures of y'all today. Like, man, hey, I'm trying to promote them. They all like, we'll just come and talk. But I think that's great. And I want you to connect with All of Us or None. I'm going to make that connection. I don't know if you heard of them, but it's a group of people that were directly impacted in the system. They've been doing panels and work around legislation, like the chief judge, the House of Correction, the department, Secretary Carr, all of them. And so I think it would be great if y'all connect. I just see y'all, the organization, and you being able to do some great things together. So I want to make that connection. I'm saying it now. So I hope you find. We didn't talk about it, y'all. I'm just putting them on the spot. Like, hey, I got some people I want you to connect with. I think they need that, and you need them. And I just see it being wonderful. They're even doing some stuff with the juvenile justice is the next panel. And a couple of people, I think, from some national speakers are coming up. Latanya, you as well, too. I come across so many women and young ladies who have been through some of the things that you have been through, and they are in a totally different space in life. And just hoping that I can connect some with you. And who knows what other thing you may be doing. You may be like the comeback kid coach, going into places talking. But I believe you both can make such great impact on other people's lives. And it will be a tragedy on our part, and on my part, not to make sure that I put it out there. So I like putting people not on blast in a bad way, but in a great way, because I think you both have so much to offer. Just not the Milwaukee community, but a national community. can utilize. So I hope you're okay with that.
Definitely. And
like, I guess you did it now.
let me just say this. I think it's really amazing, Ed, that you got out the system and did the work, and you look nothing like what you've been through, but to be able to go back and talk to those who are in that situation like they need that. I often hear people say that you cannot heal in the environment that you got sick in. And that's true. But once you get healed, it's nothing wrong with going back to that environment to help those others heal as well. So I commend you for that. Because some people are selfish. They get out, they get to where they think they need to be in life. And it's like, screw anybody else who's been in my shoes. Yeah. And that's the beauty of that. And then I must say too, I'm so proud of our city. Milwaukee is the bomb. And there was a point where I was like, I ain't never going back there. I can't stand that city. And this is that. And I left, and the only reason I ended up back here was because my dad ended up getting sick in Memphis. I didn't want to go back to Memphis, and my sister was like, come back here. I got some stuff going on. You can come help. And I was like, oh, I don't want to go back there. I hated it there. And this is that, and this is that. But I came back, and it's like, oh my God. So everything that happened to me led me right back here to where I needed to be. And I'm just so glad that I made that decision, because I'm telling you, we walk in the hood, the ghetto, whatever they want to call it, whatever, the rundown houses, the houses that are abandoned, those are gold mines. Those are gold mines. Like, people look at it like it's junk. What may look to like junk to somebody else looks like a gold mine to others, and that's a gold mine. So my whole mindset has changed, and I'm so glad that I came back. So I'm definitely looking forward to working with all of you, connecting with all of you. It was definitely a pleasure, Ed, hearing your story. We don't have a lot of Black men that are positive. We have a lot of lost Black men, and excuse me, but a lot of our men are lost and broken because they are raised by lost and broken women, and it's time to break that ugly cycle. That's an ugly cycle that needs to be broken. So I'm definitely here to do the work.
No doubt.
Oh my God, y'all have given me so much life. I know I said the same thing, like, after you don't look like what he been through. I have to be like, okay. But it's great. It's so great. Ed, any empowering words?
Yeah, I mean, she definitely put a bow on this one, but just continuing on, just to understand that what she just said before about what you're going through is not even for you.
Yeah.
Somebody need to see what it looked like to fall and get up.
Right. Mm-hmm.
A lot of people that's foreign to a lot of people. They think falling is final. Like, no, that's part of the process. When you was learning how to walk, you fell, you got back up, you walking. Didn't nobody tell you quit trying to walk? You done fell down too many times.
Right.
The process is. And somewhere along the way, we have been should I say, sold a bill of goods. When you say hurting, broken people, we only know what we know. And if somebody don't know much, they can't teach you much. So with that being said, I just know, like Miss Latanya, whenever you have an opportunity to share knowledge and share that with somebody, you never know. You might change their life. You might change them from a lifetime of bad decisions and choices. And, anytime that I can do that, I really feel like as I build and continue to build, I'm with you guys on Milwaukee. I really feel a lot of confidence about stepping into a room full of these broken men and being able to look them in the eye, because I did it for 20 years. Tuesday is release day in Wisconsin Department of Corrections. There's anybody that I didn't come across in the DOC that would tell you on Tuesdays, I was saying, man, go home and I want to see you back in here. So I'm doing this the whole time. This is just me doing it on the outside. But on the inside, man, you're not going to be able to get out and do anything. I'm not trying to hear that. It's not about me. You get out and do something. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about me. I'm going to be all right. So I'm still that way. Just take care of you and let's get you straight. I'm going to be all right.
All right. Just going to read a couple comments and then we'll kind of tie it up. Your purpose has changed lives, not an option. That's good. Wow. Afraid to succeed. I think they went back to home economics, what Tanya was talking about. And so I just wanted to share some of those. And so you guys are reaching people even through this platform who's listening. And so once again, thank you for coming on Taylor Talks, Not Your Normal Conversation. You both were so great, like just the impact and the inspiration on your life. And believe me, I don't blow woes or whistles. If I'm telling you that, it's because I feel that. That's just who I am. I've been told I don't sugarcoat really well, and I just don't. But I do thank you for everything you've done because you've inspired me. And I'm just looking for ways to connect with you both more and then connect you to some other people, individuals, and organizations that I think will be a great connection. Don't forget, send me that link or whatever it is to the book so that I can purchase some and just give them out to whoever needs them. I also, even though this is my own platform, in some of my other lives, like I'm on a county and I'm on the school board, I just see connecting you guys to different levels on there as well too, even those schools and the juvenile facilities on the county side. So I want to make sure we do that as well too. Latanya, I know I am one of your honorees, but I think like it's the fashion show ticket or one of the days is some tickets. Let me still sew into you and purchase a couple of those. I know you've been giving out tickets to people.
I'm actually giving some out
Today. Okay, so that'll be
Yeah.
some people want to come. And you know, that's just a way of me to say thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for connecting with me. I often say people don't have to do anything for you, but when they do, I try to do something back for them, and not that it have to be reciprocated, but I just believe in giving back and helping. So thank you
Thank
both. You were awesome. I see your information down in there. Make sure y'all connect to them. If y'all want to boss up, we have some bosses on the shows today. Make sure y'all boss up with them. They shows you often tell people how to get it out the bottom and still come up, still be connected to your community. A lot of times people move out. They be like, hey, they can have that. These
Right.
individuals decided to stay within their community and give back to those that needed it each and every day. And that's something that we don't always see. So big ups for that and all love for that. Thank you guys for joining. Have a great day. Remember to love on somebody. I say this a lot because we're in COVID. Stay safe, but a lot of our seasoned people, that's what I call our elders, are often left alone because they're our most vulnerable population. If you have that neighbor next door or your great aunt or your grandmother, even if you can't physically go in to see them because you want to keep your family safe or them safe, leave a care package at the door. I've had 5 older people, seasoned people that I took on as my own babies throughout COVID. And I just go and take stuff over there. I call them, some of them text, but let's just make sure we take care of them because they led the path from us. We standing on their shoulders.
Right.
So let's give back to them in their time of need and let them know that they are still loved. I felt like when COVID hit, a lot of people was like, oh, they're the most vulnerable, population. So a lot of people stayed away from them. And that, sent a lot of them into depression. So love on some people. Love conquers a lot of things. So love on some people, show them that you care. And remember to stay tuned, stay touched, stay true to who you are. Have a great night.
I was gonna say,
Go.
before you go, just a little something really funny. When you invited me to this and I saw the title, I was like, oh man, is she gonna ask me a credit repair or anything like that? I was like, that's something I'm currently working on. So what am I gonna say about it? I started researching.
I'm working on it too, and I can talk about it.
But I started researching all type of stuff, taking notes and sending myself all type of stuff. And I said,
hey, if you want to leave people with something, we talk about credit repair. We need to get our credit right. I tell
what
people
I'm saying is I'm glad you didn't ask me about it because that's something I'm still that's something I'm still in the area of. That's my weakness that I'm still working on. But like I said, those
that's where you improving that. We ain't talking about no weakness. We throw that out.
My staff has me on a complete fast from shopping, and I'm 3 weeks strong.
Praise them. Yeah.
Once I get past 30 days, they say if you can do something for at least 30 days, then you can, break bad habits. But I just thought I'd put that out there because it was so funny. I said, now she ain't asked me not one question about credit repair, and I call myself.
No, so y'all was different. I do bring people on who talk about credit repair and stuff like that, but I feel like when building economic wealth, it's like a round table of different things. So yeah, if you got something to say about credit repair, Ed or somebody, throw it out there. We always need that knowledge. Oh, sorry. He's like, you gonna ask me to ask you some credit questions too?
I mean, I'm good on that, but I was definitely prepared to talk about, money business. I was totally taken off guard about, just talking about my life. I thought we was going to get into entrepreneurship and real estate and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay.
But listen, then you throw out something about that. Like sometimes I do, like when I picked y'all too, I knew you guys had came from what some people would consider like the ghetto, the prosperous life, but I like people to see that journey. But absolutely, if you have something to say on that, please say it because people are looking forward to seeing that too. So I guess I took y'all a roundabout way, my bad, but it was still good. But okay, give us something on real estate and finances. Then you shouldn't have said anything. Now you got to give us some tips and strategies or something. I'm writing and listening mentally.
Okay. This just, I'm in the barbershop, so I'm kicking this all day long. It's just for me, it was just looking at money differently. A lot of people look at money a certain way, but I look at it differently. Like, first of all, I work hard for the money. But then the second part of that, which I learned from my parents and grandparents, was work hard. And I do work hard. But once I make money, I'm not a customer. I take that money and the money has to start working for me.
Oh, yeah.
The money, all this money, this ain't nothing but my employees. I work hard for the money. Now the second part is now you finna go work hard for me. It's not gonna be one-sided. Well, I just keep working for you and working for you, and you break me down. I'm gonna work hard for you, accumulate as much as I can, and invest it and make money in my sleep. So that's just my philosophy on money.
What are you in? You can't hit us with that and leave, sweetie.
Right.
So what are you investing in? Because we need to maybe know. So if we're investing, we hold it some, we invest in some. What are we doing?
So I opened up a barbershop.
Yeah.
And I soon found out after opening the barbershop up that I didn't own a business. I owned a job.
Okay.
Because I couldn't make money if I wasn't standing behind the chair.
Okay.
So after sitting in the joint for 20 years, I'm reading up on the different philosophies on money. So once I got behind that chair, a lot of this came to fruition. It came to reality like, man, I read that this is not a business. This is a job.
Right.
So I invested in the trucking business.
Okay.
So I started with one truck and I drove that truck myself for a whole year and a half. And then I leveled up and bought 2 more trucks. So now I had 3. But then I got out of the truck. So all I do is make sure the trucks is maintenance and it's gas in the truck.
Listen, money while you sleep.
And I don't drive anymore. So now I make money in my sleep.
That's
when I go on vacation, truck's still rolling.
Yeah.
I can't roll like that. So I'm starting to move away from those type of businesses, elevating out of the job owning business to really owning a business to where I can be on the live right here with you, 2 young ladies, and still be making money.
Okay.
So that's the level up in the business
so
game.
When you first got the truck, if you don't mind sharing, like, what did you invest? Like, is it, like, I know it was time and stuff, but like, how did you find a truck? Because I think about people going into like the trucking business and I don't thought about it. I just don't want to drive them. But like, what did you do to invest? Did you find a truck somewhere? Did you buy it off a lot? Did you look on the internet? Did you have a set amount of money that this is what I'm going to spend and then invest?
Well, that's the one thing about like, my background is in the hood. So
okay.
You always, it ain't about how much money you make, it's how much you keep.
Okay.
So as I was cutting hair, I was saving my money. I was saving. I wasn't like spending it. So I'm always want to be in position when an opportunity comes. So I'm just making money and saving it, making money and saving. So one of my clients was in the chair. He's like, man, I bought me a truck, man, and I'm delivering for Amazon and I'm doing this. And I was like, man, how much you make? So he told me, and I've been putting money up. So I said, man, I'm gonna give me a truck too. So by the time he came back for his next haircut, I had went on Facebook Marketplace. I had went on Craigslist. I had went on places up in Minnesota looking, everything that I could to find me a truck. And I found me one for like $7,500, the first truck I ever bought. And from then on, I learned about getting DOT numbers, MC numbers. That's me. I don't need to know everything about a business. All I need to know is
enough to get started.
Yeah, that's how I'll be.
I learn it as I go. So I need to just know a little bit to get started.
Working.
And there you go. My hard work gonna make up for what I don't know.
Right.
Okay.
I'm gonna work so hard that what I mess up on, I'm gonna cover it up with hard work. And you know, some of it is just my philosophy on business. And before long, just like riding a bike, nobody have to hold the back of that seat no more. I can ride by myself.
But you know, you did something that a lot of people are scared to do, and that's opening up your mouth, asking the question.
Yes.
A lot of people are so afraid to ask other people, how did you do that? Because one, they're in fear of the person not wanting to share information, or two, they're in fear of how the person is going to share the information. So your networking is like, I tell people all the time, you have to learn how to network, and it starts with just asking some simple questions. Sometimes you just never know, you know, what information you're going to come across if you just ask a question. So you just was having a conversation with a customer, and look what that did for you. You know what I'm saying? And you sharing that, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are gonna be like, you know, let me start asking around. I was even talking to somebody the other day about doing not a speed dating virtual event, but a speed business virtual event where myself and a couple entrepreneurs, we allow people to come into a virtual setting and ask us as many questions as they possibly can in 1 hour. After that hour, no more questions. You have to contact each individual on your own to set up a consultation or try to seek their services. I think that's a great way for us to spread the word about what it is that we do, and it gives people a chance to ask those questions that they normally don't get a chance to ask. One girl told me, she was like, I didn't even want to ask you, but because I'm like, you know, ask. You know, be
like closed mouths don't get fed.
Exactly. So yeah, that was great. That was awesome. But I'm gonna stop with that because I can go on all day about that.
Yeah, I know. See, he don't keep it. That's what I said. Like, I let it kind of flow, but I think that's great too, because I think some people out there are saying like, hey, I do see how you guys was great, but how did you start? So Tanya, how did you start your first business too, though? But I do want somebody to walk away with some type of businesses or economics. Like, he brought a truck, and then the truck brought another truck. So how did you start your first business? Was it funding? Somebody connected you to it? How did you?
With the boutique, my sister had started her boutique and she named it after my mom. And then I saw how much fun she was having after, so I ended up opening a boutique. But I made a lot of mistakes when I opened my boutique. I used my tax money to buy a bunch of, you know, inventory, but I had those sob stories. Can I get this and pay you next week? Can I get this and pay? And this is that. And I was giving away a lot of stuff. And before I knew it, almost a year had passed, and I didn't make back really what I put into it because I was just doing too many favors. So I had to kind of go back and reevaluate and say, you know what, let me kind of redo this. So that was the boutique side of it. But then with the prenatal care services, I've always been the type of person to give out resources. And when I moved back to Milwaukee, my sister was telling me that she was working for an agency and they gave out resources to pregnant women or women with children. And she was like, I think you should do something like that. So I jumped on board, but I saw such a bigger need for it. I said, look, I can't just give resources. We got to do a little bit more than give resources to these women. Like, we became their moral support, their personal support. And I'm like, well, shoot, I've been doing this all my life, and so now I can make an honest living off of it. And so I just ended up opening my own business, and almost 3 years later, two locations opened up. So this is actually the third location. So I mean, it's all about find out what you're good at and what you're passionate about. A lot of people do what they think looks good because somebody else is doing it.
Somebody else did it and it don't work.
That may not be your niche. When you're doing stuff just for the money and it's not your passion, you don't
put as much into it.
Exactly. Me, I don't have any office hours. If I got a client that's calling me at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning saying, look, I need to talk, I'm getting up and I'm talking. So you have to find out what it is that you're passionate about. I get people in my inbox all the time saying, how do I start one of those pamper companies? And I say, well, what is a pamper company? What you do? I said, I don't have a pamper company. You can call Loves, or you can call Pampers, whoever, Huggies, whatever, and ask them how to start a pamper company. But that's not all we do. But that's the reputation that prenatal care agencies have, is that we just give out pampers. Yeah. So we do more than that. So
and it's great too. I often say your passion leads to your purpose, that then produces your paycheck. So those be like my 3 P's: passion, purpose, paycheck. Because if you can do it, I often tell people, what would you do if money wasn't an issue? Like, what would you get up to do with a smile on your face, even in some of your roughest time in life? That's where your passion and purpose lies. How do you have that produce a paycheck for you? And it comes off to say that gift will make room for you each and every day of the week.
Oh yeah.
Oh, thank you. See, you took us there. You shouldn't have brought our finances, so we had to get some extra tips from you.
Well, he taught me something new, so
Yes. Yeah, I know. I'm about to call him and be like, you did what with that truck? Now, how can I make money when I'm asleep again? That's where I'm trying to get to. But thank you guys once again for just sewing into my life and sewing into the lives of those that are watching us live. Hopefully, you all got something out of here. Make sure that you connect with them if you have other questions or concerns. You can always connect with me. I am not big on Messenger. I try to use it as least as possible because I give other ways to connect with me, and I had to find a balance with my political life versus my business and entrepreneur life. And so I had to have a cutoff, and Messenger was it. Any other way, I have emails, I have 3 different phone numbers. You can reach me. I'll put my contact information in here too. But let's make sure that we connect. Let's make sure we stay true to who we are. Have a great day. Stay safe. Thank you.